And this we can pull now. That's quite fine, well and good. So here, historical background of the Constitution. Now we are getting into the topic, okay? So when you see this historical background of Indian Constitution, what is the idea here? What do we want to see? What are we going to see? See, from this topic, any competitive exam, questions come. And sometimes good number of questions come in a single paper also. So questions come from this topic. So this topic in your GK book or any book related to polity and your GK book, it would be there actually. Okay. The board won't be visible, so I'm saying. Okay. Fine. So this as a topic, it's important. See, few important items I will say you can write down. Whatever I dictate to you, you can write down. Other than that, you just listen to me, and books also you can learn. I would be providing the PPTs. Few PPTs I would be providing it to you. So don't worry about copying. Whatever is required, I will ask you to do that immediately. Got it? Fine. Listen to me. Okay. See, historicity of Indian Constitution. The idea here is how Indian Constitution came into existence. How did Indian Constitution came into existence? We all saw last class itself, Constituent Assembly was elected. This elected assembly went on and they framed a constitution. They brought here, more than that, if you see, the idea of having a constitution. See, law as such has existed from time immemorial. More than one person, wherever they have existed, law has existed. Law has been there. There is no dispute in it. There is no dispute or not. Law has been there. So law as such has existed for long. But more than that, what we are seeing here is, what is this idea of man-made law, a constitution, how it came into existence? We owe a lot to the British for the idea of having a constitution of what we have. Okay. And any book, if you see, they will start from 1773 Regulating Act. Why? First question is, why do any constitutional history, any book, why do they start from 1773 Regulating Act? That is the first question what we are going to see. Why should they start? Normally to read is from 1773 to read, every book says why have they put. See, 1773, the Britishers came when to India? 16? 1600. Say, have confidence. Even if it is wrong answer, confidently say. That is always. Okay, 1600. Here also I am saying question many a times as a GK question. These are asked in exams. I am saying not one or two, many competitive exams asked. Ascending order. The Europeans coming into India in ascending order, you have to arrange. Who came first to India? Which European power came first to India as a trading company, I am saying? No, before that. Portuguese. Portuguese came in 1498 and reached Calicut. And in 1600, British came. 1602, Dutch came. Then who came? Good. Danish, very good. When? 1616. Then came French, 1664. And then came Swede, 1731. Okay, this ascending order they have asked actually, many competitive exams, this kind of questions have been asked. Narrated in ascending order, stated in ascending order. Getting it or not? So I saw very less number of people writing it down. Now when I am saying also, you are expecting me to say that, to please write. Why? These are something when I say that you can write it down or not when you are not knowing. Why are you expecting each and everything? See, when I dictate, I will say certain item when we do not know, when we hear, why can't you write it down? Start taking notes. That you should cultivate. Getting it or not? So here, this was the ascending order in which the European powers came. See, when I say very important, listen to me, means I myself will say to you. Running notes, each and everything you need not take, but few of the running notes you should take. Okay, that way only that is the way actually you have to proceed in a competitive exam preparation. Fine, in a class. Listen to me. Though British came in 1600, why 1773 is usually taken as a mark? Regulating Act is taken as a mark. The reason is simple. See, from 1600 till 1773, Britishers were moving or expanding themselves. But when 1600 they came, the Mughals were ruling India and they were pretty powerful. And Britishers did not they did not invade India or not come to rule India. They came as a trading entity. And the reason why they came also in Europe, by then the Portuguese has found a route to reach India. Before that did not know the route or what. 1498 we say for trading Portuguese come. But if you see ancient India also, trade has happened between India and all these powers, European powers. The Pandya kingdom, the Chola kingdom, they all had trading relation. Even Indus Valley civilization, they had a trading relation with Gulf countries, today's Gulf countries and other areas also. And European powers, during those times, pre-2000 itself, we have had a trading relation. Then why are we saying 1498 Europeans came? They found a route to reach India. We read why. We read it or not? Why? See, map, if you can imagine the map, the Mediterranean Sea, through cutting across the Mediterranean Sea and into Arabian Sea, they used to cut and then get into Arabian Sea and they come, Suez Canal, they will cross and come. From Europe, you have seen international map or not? Very good. Okay. Be little active. Very serious faces. Why very serious face? See here, they used to cut across and come. But by 12th, 13th century, the Osmania Khilafat, the Turks started controlling the Suez Canal. The Osmania Khilafat started coming in. When the Turks started controlling the Suez Canal, it was not easy for the European powers to cut across Suez and come get into Arabian Sea and reach India. But spices was very much needed for the British. Not only British, all of Europe, the gold and lot many other raw materials. That was the time industrial revolution was taking place in Europe. So new inventions and they needed raw materials. Many raw materials they were needing. So this was the situation in Europe. But here the Turks were ruling the trade route, controlling the trade route. So it was not easy for them to cut across and come. That necessitated that they have to find out an alternate route. So alternate route, what they do? The Portuguese for the first time, lot of history involved in it that you see from history. But we are now seeing the legal history. The Portuguese for the first time cut across the whole of Africa, came to the Cape of Good Hope. Where is Cape of Good Hope? Very good. Where? Say. South Africa. Very good. South Africa, Cape of Good Hope. And from there, learned the routes to reach India. Okay, Calicut. So, that way, cutting across whole of Africa, circumventing it, they reached India. Getting it or not? So, this way they came. When 1498 Portuguese came, Portuguese started trading these spices and other items. And now all other European powers either were at the mercy of the Osmania Turks, that is they have to fight them, or they should be at the mercy of the Portuguese. Whatever rate they fix would be the rate. So now it necessitated everyone to go for a trading company, to start a trading company. So what ultimately had was, everybody started, they were planning, and again huge profits were involved in it. Those profits lured them. There were many British traders, individual traders at that time. So what happened in 1599, a group of traders came together as merchant adventurers. In 1599, a group of traders came together as merchant adventurers. This question what I am asking to you was asked in a PCS, if I am not wrong. Karnataka Public Service Commission Group 1 exam last year asked this question. Merchant adventurers by name 1599 they started, and this merchant adventurers went to the queen, they lured the queen, they showed how much profit is involved in it, and based on it a charter act 1600, a charter means a law. You can now understand it to be a law. A charter was passed by the Queen Elizabeth, stating that a company be formed in order to trade with India and or in order to trade with a particular region. Monopoly, listen to me, I will dictate that. A company be formed in order to trade between a particular area. Okay, monopoly right. What is monopoly first of all? Single seller. A market with single seller. Why monopoly? The queen was also part of it. She wanted to make sure that it is a successful company. And so no other British citizen can trade in those areas where East India Company, or those, now only we are going to call them East India Company. The company is going to trade. So a group of merchants by name Merchant Adventurers, they started. And here if you see, if you see here, the real name of the Charter Act of 1600, the name of the company was the Governor and Company of Merchants of London Trading into East Indies. This is the name of the company. East India Company as a word, what we are saying is not the name of a company actually. In short, we call them East India Company. John Company they used to say. The real name is Governor and Company of Merchants of London Trading into East Indies. This is the name of the company. Okay, now write 2 lines. In 1600, the Queen of England issued a charter establishing a trading company named the Governor and Company of Merchants of London trading into East Indies. Trading into East Indies. Underline that. Company by name, underline that. This company came to be called as East India Company. So first word, Merchant Adventurers, it starts. The company was named, Charter Act means the Queen passes a law. According to the charter, write down. The company was granted monopoly trading rights between the Cape of Good Hope, monopoly trading rights in those countries, right? In those countries that lie between, in those countries that lie between Cape of Good Hope and Straits of Magellan, Magellan, Straits of Magellan, full stop. Now listen to me. Cape of Good Hope, South Africa we saw. Where is Straits of Magellan? Where is Straits of Magellan? Say some country name. In South America, Chile. Chile in South America. See, from Africa till cutting across whole of Asia, and here crossing the Pacific, and the lower part here is what? The Straits of Magellan. All these countries, all these areas, only East India Company can trade on behalf of British government. No other British citizen can trade. Understanding or not? So this charter mentioned that one. Now listen to me. See, after that, the slowly British started expanding themselves. Lot of history involved in it. Later on, you can get that to be known through history classes. And they first established a factory at Surat. When I say factory, factory is not today's factory. Today's factory means what? What do you immediately think of factory? Manufacturing. There it was not manufacturing. Factory means large warehouses that are kept. So in warehouses, the raw materials collected would be kept. Okay, in order to be taken to England for manufacturing it. So factory was set up. Later on at Musalipatnam, where did English land? Portuguese came where? In India, where did Portuguese land? Huh? Hey, say something. Don't hum to yourself. Huh? Calicut. I myself said no. What is it? About these people. Where did British land? Hey, these are GK questions. In school, 100% you all have read. Recollect. Try to recollect. Musalipatnam. Now it is called Machilipatnam in Andhra Pradesh. Why I am saying this is, these are items which you have to see in map. Where it is you should see. That is the way competitive exam preparation comes with that. You have to see in map where this place is. Understanding or not? See, normal map related question 1 or 2 comes in paper regularly. Most competitive exams it comes. Map related question. Some years back, maybe a decade also, a question was asked. People reading the map very much looking into minute cities and all. But what happens? A question was put. Arrange these cities in ascending order from north to south. From the order of from north to south, not ascending order, from north to south, how these are arranged in Indian map. First 2 cities they have given before a decade it was asked. But what was the confusion here is, I am just asking you also. They have again given a Chennai, Bangalore. Which is north, which is south? Huh? Bangalore is north. Why? Our immediate imagination goes what? Karnataka is above Tamil Nadu. So it has to be like that. I am saying city. As city, if you see, Chennai will be more in north, Bangalore is in south. Why I say this is, this you should know. Getting it, this question was asked, I'm saying UPSC, it was asked in prelim. It's a GK question. It's a GK question. So what you should be looking into things. So likewise, questions are asked not only in UPSC, other exams also. These are GK related questions. Getting it or not? Unless otherwise you know past year's question paper, if you are not clear about past year's question paper, then you will not know what is the idea, the mindset of the paper, question paper, whoever is responsible for setting the question paper. So the next year's question paper, how it is going to be, the key lies in past year's papers. I am not saying they are not going to repeat the question, but the trend would be there, idea would be there. See, people read newspaper. People read, this is a screen, okay fine, anyway. See here, usually, which for the competitive exams, which newspaper is very much advocated? Huh? Say loud. Okay. Any newspaper, not a problem. The idea is you have to read newspaper, that's the first thing. Okay, any newspaper, not a problem, but take it. By default, they go for Hindu or not? It is generally advocated. And people also used to read, to the extent that even advertisement they read, obituary also they read. Okay, to that extent they read. Very strong preparation. Nothing wrong, they read. But you see what happens. Just to read whatever comes on the way is not this exam is all about. Not only UPSC, any competitive exam. For what you are preparing, you should understand what is the way in which questions are asked. If I am not wrong, 2007, I suppose 6 or 7, 6 maybe. There was a question that was put in UPSC paper. The question was, CMYK is related to. What is it? CMYK is related to. 4 options they have given. Railway signaling, EVM, offset printing, something else. Okay, they have given this. People used to read the newspaper very well. CMYK, what is it? They don't know. Many made a mistake. Many made a mistake. The reason is what you know. In Hindu is the, why I said Hindu is the only newspaper where you find letters written. All other newspaper, any newspaper they are here. Any newspaper here? Any newspaper if you see, bottom of it, colors would be there. What? Those are the colors used in the printing of the paper. Hindu you can see words written, CMYK will be written there in color itself. Cyan, magenta, yellow, likewise. That is CMYK, it would be written. Getting it or not? They have asked a question. People who were reading obituary didn't read that. Why I am saying this? I am not asking you to read obituary and read that. But by looking at the past year's paper, you understand, oh, these kind of questions can be asked. So while reading newspaper, what to read, where to give the stress, where to read, how to read, you will be knowing. I can take a class for 5 hours how to read newspaper. I am sure about it that it is not going to be greatly useful when you read it actually. The most important thing is that past year's questions you read. I am saying, no, don't go for answers, questions. You understand the way in which questions are asked. The way in which questions are asked, then obviously when you read, you will get to know, oh, this is the area from where they have asked. These kind of questions have been asked. This is the way I have to prepare. See, competitive exams are all about strategizing, not sheer knowledge. Accumulation of knowledge alone won't help. Strategizing your knowledge, that's very important. How you are going to strategize? This is the way. Past year's questions hold the key for our preparation, I am saying. They are not going to repeat the question. Our preparation would depend on it. So past year's questions, download it. Soft copy at least, download it. Look into those questions. Study the question, options, what they have asked actually. By that you will be knowing what to read, where to read. Even NCERT is said or not. Maybe test also would be conducted lately on NCERTs. NCERT is an important one. Any competitive exam, particularly UPSC, they say please read NCERTs. Yes, no doubt. But take my word, many of you would have read NCERT and you are sitting here as graduates. But when you are going to prepare for a competitive exam, that time when you read NCERT, the same NCERT would be different for you. The book is same, words are same, but now the knowledge is different. What you are getting from it is different. Approach is different. Understanding it or not? So that is most important, and that you will get to know. You can have a grip over your preparation only when you know the past questions, the way they are asked, the areas where they are asked. Otherwise, it would be like you are blind, made blind, and you are just hitting in the air, punching in the air for no reason. Okay, so that is more important. Don't think to yourself, 25 hours a day, if I study only I will clear. There are people who study for 25 hours a day. Yeah. Success stories, if you see, it is all written. I have been studying 23, 24. How possible, I don't know. He would have gone mad. Number of hours and all not important. What are you studying? Are you understanding or not? Qualitative preparation, strategizing your preparation is what competitive exams need. Not just studying, I am sitting in table looking at time and reading, waste of time. Getting it or not? So strategize. How to strategize? This is the way. So questions that are asked actually. No, you have to look into it. When I say as a remembrance, GK. When I say, then you should remember, okay, Musalipatnam means where you should go, you should see, take an atlas, see where it is. Likewise, you should have that knowledge, where it is. So you should have that connection. Getting it or not? Fine, listen. So they started, then they went on, they bought Madras, they didn't fight for Madras, they bought Madras, they developed Madras. Then Bombay was got as dowry for them from Portuguese king. And again, they developed Bombay, then Calcutta they developed again. And so likewise, these, even today in India, if you see, which are the four major cities? The top major four. Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai, Madras. All, if you are already, Delhi was already in existence. But if you see, other three cities were completely developed by British. And they did not even shed a drop of blood for it. They didn't fight for it with anyone. They bought it actually. They bought it, they developed it. Even till that time, direct fight was not there. In those areas, why I am saying this, in those areas, be it Madras settlement or Bombay settlement or Calcutta settlement, they introduced legal measures. They introduced legal measures. Slowly they were introducing their legal measures, British legal measures. See, in India, lot of people have come, right? As Indian history goes, as past, as old as it goes, people used to have come to India from different places. They have Persia, Greek, many have come, they have settled, but the core or most of them got Indianized. Most of them got Indianized. And legally speaking, the very strong attempt to change the whole legal setup, codifying law, everything was started with British. But though 1600 they came, till 1773 when we are seeing, we are not, no book is taking that to be a starting point of constitution making. Because British were ruling, slowly introducing their laws, their manners through, that is their legal etiquette and all they were introducing. But what was most importantly happening here is 1773 is the break. What is the break? Why the break happened? That's very important now. That is what we are seeing here. So slowly they developed these places. By 1757, the Battle of Plassey took place, and for the first time, British were able to decisively defeat an Indian ruler, Sirajud-Dowla. They defeated them. That was even before that they have waged, but a big battle, decisively defeated, and they started taking control over Bengal. And subsequently in 64 Battle of Buxar took place, where they defeated the combined army of Lucknow, that is Awadh, sorry, not Lucknow, Awadh, along with this Bengal army and Mughal army, combined army they defeated, and they made sure that they are the masters of North. By the time the Marathas, very short history I am putting it before you, Marathas in 1761, who were very powerful rising powers, they were also defeated in third battle of Panipat against Ahmad Shah Abdali. So again, now the situation by 1760s, the situation was there was no power. Mughals down, Marathas down, no power in India that had that technical acumen or capability to question or to stop the march of British. So now listen,